You ever have one of those weeks where you honestly think you're living in a hidden camera show, like any second someone's going to jump out of the bushes and hand you a check for surviving the craziest neighbor drama in suburban history? Yeah, that was me right in the heart of Pinewood, just trying to mind my own business, keep my garden tidy, and not end up on some HOA horror compilation on the internet. And you better believe every word of what I'm about to tell you actually happened, at least as I lived it, with all the highs, the rage, and the karmic punchlines. So I'm David Carter, just a regular guy, a little too fond of his garden shed, big on jazz, bigger on peace and quiet, and definitely not looking for trouble. But trouble. Well, sometimes it comes looking for you, usually in the form of a nosy, entitled neighbor who thinks your tools are her personal Home Depot. Enter Beatrice Grumbles B. If you were on her good side, shed doozy Karen if you'd seen the memes. Trust me, she earned it. It started one of those perfect spring mornings where you actually believe for a minute that suburbia is all it's cracked up to be, birds chirping like they're getting paid for it. Coffee hot plans to install a new solar fountain in my koi pond life, feeling gentle. That is until I saw the door to my shed hanging open. Now I know what you're thinking, classic setup, but no, I swear I'd locked that thing the night before after tucking in my new rotary tiller like it was a newborn. Heart rate up, I peeked inside. And sure enough, my best Japanese gardening shears, a gift, mind you, gone. Hedge trimmer MIA too. That's when I heard it. The unmistakable sound of my hedge trimmer on the other side of the fence. If you ever want to know what it feels like to realize you're about to be in a viral video, that's the moment. Now B was out there late 60s, always scowling, wardrobe stolen straight from a box marked yard sale 1982 sun hat beat to hell, and a mouth that ran faster than her ancient poodle. She's the type that corners you at the mailbox to lecture you about the old days with a bonus side of thinly veiled racism and complaints about your kind. I tried to keep it together, called over B. Is that my trimmer you're using? She didn't even blink, just yelled back about borrowing because her own tools were misplaced. And naturally, she said my shed was unlocked, like that's an invitation. I bit my tongue, said B. You took my tools without asking. That's not borrowing. That's theft. She hit me with that offended grandma act. How dare I accuse her after all she's done for the street? I just relocked the shed, loud and final. That's when things went nuclear. B storms to the fence, face red sun hat askew, screeching, "Unlock that shed like a good boy, David. I need those shears for my roses." And right then you could feel the temperature drop. Like a good boy, I repeated. You ever have someone press every single button at once? I told her flat out she was out of line. Get off my property, don't touch my stuff again. B's response. Threats. You'll regret this. You're threatening an old woman. I'm calling the police. And she did, fingers flying over her phone like she'd just discovered TikTok. I'd like to say I was surprised when the sirens rolled up faster than pizza delivery, but honestly, this was classic Pinewood. Two officers arrive, one big guy with a walrus mustache, one young and jumpy. B launches into a performance that deserved an Emmy tears, shaking hands, accusing me of lunging at her, screaming that she feared for her life. Me. I just stood there trying not to look like a threat, which is hard when you're a black man being accused by a hysterical white woman. I laid it out straight for the officers. She entered my locked shed, took my tools, got racist when I called her out. Now she's making up stories. They looked skeptical. B doubled down, said I tricked her, that she only locked the shed after I attacked her. You could feel the tide turning against me, the old story repeating itself, upset elderly white lady versus aggressive black neighbor. They took me to the station for questioning, not arrested, just humiliated. And you guessed it, B filed a formal complaint. As soon as I got home, there's a letter from a law firm taped to my door accusing me of harassment, emotional distress, even trying to extort B for her house and money. That's when you realize some people don't just want to win, they want to ruin you for fun. Instead of panicking, I got smart. Security cameras, top of the line, every angle, covered everything, saved to the cloud. I called my friend Jamal. He hooked me up with Evelyn Reed, the toughest lawyer in 3 counties, and she did not disappoint. She listened to my whole saga, every detail, then said, "We fight back, document everything." And I did. Every rotten tomato B threw over the fence. Every time she muttered, "Scheming, manipulative, ought to be locked up," loud enough for my cameras to pick up. Every stare from her window, every complaint to the police about my cameras violating her privacy. My shed became a fortress, my yard a digital crime scene. B wasn't backing down, she was doubling down, escalating to full-on vegetable artillery and drive-by insults. Then came the twist. Ms. Reed uncovered B's history. A long, juicy trail of failed lawsuits, complaints against everyone from landscapers to the public library. She was Pinewood's resident nuisance, and suddenly people were taking notice. The neighborhood started to whisper. Mrs. Henderson from across the street told me she saw B talking to her plastic flamingo like it was her lawyer. Timmy Gable, the kid next door, told his mom he saw B throwing salad at my lawn. At the annual picnic, B tried to rally folks against me and got absolutely roasted by Mrs. Henderson and young Timmy, who piped up, "Mommy, is that the lady who calls Mr. Carter bad names?" B nearly imploded right there, muttering about vipers as she slunk away with her sad ambrosia salad. Reed's legal response was a masterpiece. Every lie B told dismantled, every threat countered. When B actually sued me for my house, my shed, emotional distress, the works, Ms. Reed hit back with a countersuit, defamation, malicious prosecution. And the best part, we demanded B complete racial sensitivity training and do 100 hours of community service at the Pinewood People's Tool Co-op. The thought of her cataloging trowels for folks who actually need them, learning about good boy not being a compliment, was perfect. Karma delivered with interest. Then came the public unraveling. I edited together a highlight reel of B's antics, Project Nightingale, as Ms. Reed dubbed it. Every shriek, every threat, every bit of vegetable warfare, all time-stamped and ready. We sent it to her lawyers, and suddenly B's side wanted to settle fast. She'd have to apologize, pay my legal fees, stay 50 feet away from me and my property, and finish every last hour at the tool co-op, where a retired Marine named Gunny Hartman had zero patience for B's attitude. "Grumble all you want, Grumbles," she'd say, "but these tools aren't sorting themselves." You'd think that would be the end, but as life likes to remind you, there's always a sequel. Enter Agnes Pettywood, B's sister, armed with a severe gray bob, ironed scarves, and the chill of a headmistress scorned. She arrived, surveyed my yard, and immediately launched her own campaign, snapping pictures, filing complaints about my historically inaccurate shed. It's prefab, not Victorian, even flying a drone over my yard to document my gardening crimes. The neighborhood called it the spy copter. When Agnes's drone crashed during the community cleanup right in front of half the neighborhood, the whole act fell apart. Agnes retreated, leaving behind a stilted apology, $200 in a shoebox, and a promise to leave Pinewood for good. In the end, my shed stood gleaming in the sun, padlock shining, my koi pond burbling, and a peace finally returned to Elmstead Avenue. B, after her service at the tool co-op, became a ghost, her only legacy a cautionary tale about what happens when petty cruelty meets persistence, cameras, and a good lawyer. And me, I finally got my fountain installed. Every time I turn the key in that padlock, I smile, because sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's just living well, letting the truth outshine the lies, and letting folks hoist themselves with their own rope. So I gotta ask, after all that, what do you think? Was justice served, or did I just get lucky? Drop your thoughts below. Share your own neighbor from hell stories, or just tell me, am I the jerk, or is karma realer than we ever thought?